on Thursday evening um, on Zoom talking about nutrition. Today's topic is going to be supplements. Um, I have some personal anecdotes with supplements, but I don't think that those are super important. Just know that it's something that kind of was on my mind for a really long time. Like I was aware that these things existed for quite a bit. I think probably so. I had a good friend that worked at GNC when we were in high school, and probably the first time I took a like a supplement for the intention of taking a supplement was like 1998 probably, and that was, or 99, I don't know, that was Rips Fuel, back when they used to allow you to mix caffeine and ephedra and other things in over-the-counter supplements that they no longer allow you to do for very good reasons. um, and then I spent some time working at Smoothie King, where we sold supplements, and I actually worked for the Metabolife company, if you guys can remember that. It was another just diet pill, right? Hydroxycut, Metabolife, different diet pills that were out there, trying to fight over who could be more natural, I guess. Um, but so I have that experience, and then obviously becoming a trainer and going through the nutrition stuff um, with that as well. So I have some street credit as well as some like book smarts on this one, I guess. Um, so I'll start my slideshow with a share screen. And okay. So, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Here we go. Supplements and food. Food is in lowercase. Oh, I'm getting a chat already. Sorry. Will, where are you? Oh, there's Smoothie. Yes. Oh, Laura, did you think I wasn't going to have a presentation? What? Get out of here. Um, yeah, the Gladiator smoothie is one of the. Yeah, I could do a whole thing on Smoothie King, like Underground Smoothie King. Like they had Underground Disney books. But yeah, the Gladiator, it was one of my go-to smoothies. Molly. So I wanted a little bit of irony here. So I wrote supplements and then I put and food ... to kind of emphasize a point. And that point is going to be echoed throughout the entire presentation. So I think the first question to ask is why we use supplements, and then why, assuming that answer is going to be, do we use them? Yes. Why do we use them? And how do we use them? And I brought up, this math analogy with supplementary angles. So supplementary angles are two angles which have a sum of 180 degrees forming a straight line. So if you think of the two angles, they're supplementary. One of them achieves some distance, right? The obtuse angle achieves some distance greater than 90 degrees, unless there are two 90-degree angles, but I'm not going to get into that. And I want you to think of that as your diet, your recovery, the things you're doing to promote recovery, and your sleep. So that obtuse angle is going to be very great. Your goal for optimal health is to get to a straight line, okay? Supplements can only contribute 5 to 10 degrees, okay? So what I mean by that is if you were doing a lot of things correctly and you need to be topped off, you're at 175 degrees in your obtuse angle, the supplements can get you to a straight line. But if you're at 115 degrees in your obtuse angle, meaning different things that are within your control with your diet, your recovery, and your sleep, are only up to 115 degrees of the 180, you cannot supplement yourself all the way to a straight line. And I think that that's a point that I want to emphasize here, is that this is best. This is turbo, right? You can only use turbo when you're already moving, you're already going fast. So I kind of wanted to put that picture in our heads before we got started. So I broke up the supplements into a couple of different categories. And then further into the presentation, I have a chart where you'll have the name of the supplement, the purpose, the dosage, and then just some notes that I have about the supplement. So first, the first of the categories that I have is the tried and true supplements. Following the presentation, I'll kind of address the Facebook questions that I don't think I got to address here in the presentation. You can always ask a question via text, and then at the end, we can have an open discussion. But here are our tried and true supplements. These three things have been very well researched and have current research on them that is very compelling. They are creatine monohydrate. They are just protein powders, like processed powders made into processed protein, and omega-3, specifically fish oil and green algae. Different sources of omega-3 do not contain EPA and DHA, non-animal sources, with the exception of green algae. So if you are going to supplement an omega-3, it needs to come from an animal source, or it needs to come from green algae to have the omega-3 benefits that are going to be discussed in the presentation. I put a link to CreaPure, which is a lab out of Germany that has the highest rated creatine. Some other companies use CreaPure creatine in their products. So there's a link to that company. And then there's a peer-reviewed study from 2017, which is the most recent one I could find, and the largest meta-analysis of creatine and the benefits on exercise and overall health. So I'll get into the details of creatine a little bit more in the chart, but just so you guys know, you have that resources, and I'll share this with you in whatever avenue I have to give you those resources. I put protein in here because that is a supplement when it's processed and drinking in a powder form. Whey and casein are pretty popular forms of animal-based protein. Some companies, like paleo-based companies, have beef-based protein. I have seen collagen-based protein, egg protein, and different sort of animal-based protein. I put pea rice split because that's going to give you the best amino acid profile of a plant-based protein. So just some protein and some kind of suggestions that follow the theme of the angles, and that is we only want to have about one of our servings of protein via shake a day. I think that if you're a bodybuilder working towards hypertrophy, that a nighttime second shake might be good for you. Or if you're a high intensity CrossFit athlete worrying about losing muscle mass, a second shake would be good. But those are probably people who are taking in upwards of 3,500 calories a day. I do not agree with like the slim fast, like shake in the morning, shake in the evening, sensible dinner at night, eat 900 calories and lose weight. So just that's just my own personal philosophy, and that's why I put that in there, only one serving a day. Obviously there's wiggle room, right? Like if you're doing a 2 a day and you have a 20 grams of protein in one shake and 20 grams in another shake, and you have 40 grams total a day, that's different. But if you're supposed to have 100 grams of protein, I mean, if you're supposed to have 160 grams of protein a day and you're taking 100 of it in shake form, that's not going to be good. So those are the big time three. Like, we can find data to support the claims of these supplements. These supplements are supplements that I think I would put in a couldn't hurt category. Like, does everybody need these? Maybe not. If you're eating a really high quality diet, you might not, but it couldn't hurt. And if you're really close to optimal nutrition, these things can help close your angle to a straight line. So a green supplement, which usually comes in powdered form, and a multivitamin. And I think a food-based multivitamin is preferable because you can get a food-based multivitamin. You do not have to synthetically create these things. So I think that a food-based multivitamin is preferable. As a Western society, the biggest deficiencies we have are iodine, vitamin D, iron, vitamin B12, calcium, magnesium, and vitamin A. So when choosing a multivitamin, it might be best to make sure they have those in them. You can always do a vitamin panel, a food intolerance panel, to find out exactly what you're deficient in and supplement specific those vitamins. Some things, though, about supplementation, we talked about how things work best synergistically. So, sorry, I dropped a board game and it made a crash. Like, for instance, vitamin D is going to be best absorbed from the sun. Like, you can supplement vitamin D, but just different things to think about when you're trying to pick and choose what vitamins that you need to supplement based off of a panel showing you what you're deficient in. And then I do not get any sort of endorsement or kickback for any of the products that I'm recommending at all. And I'll also talk a little bit about the products we have at our gym, because once we get to the chart, I'll point out which gym products have different supplements in them. But Rainbow Light is a really good food-based, reputable multivitamin, and I don't think we sell multivitamins, so I think it's okay for me to say that, right, Molly? I think that more like I don't know if it's necessarily cutting edge as more as it's like hot topic research right now for us is CBD oil is big. We had some questions about CBD oil, so the benefits are just like they fall under so many different umbrellas, or at least the claims to the benefits, which, like, you can look at the studies yourself. I gave one of them more. I think that study is from a meta-analysis from 2019, so it's less than a year old. But like, there's just a plethora of claims, anywhere from like anti-aging to antioxidant to recovery. So just a ton of things there. So that's kind of a hot button. CoQ10 is big time right now. It's a enzyme used in the mitochondria of cells to create ATP from fat and glucose. And then probiotics are big. And I think that my own personal opinion is the research on gut flora that's going to come out is going to kind of change how we view immunity and exercise recovery and longevity. So those are kind of cutting edge things. So I tried to put the most recent studies I could find. They're peer reviewed there, so you can take a look at them. Other stuff, electrolytes, I put Gatorade versus Powerade versus Pedialyte. There are a plethora of other different ways you can get electrolytes. You can get electrolyte tablets. You can get electrolyte. What else? We have like we used to carry the 10 Institute product. There's drops. There's a variety of things you can use. The reason I put those three things there is because those three things usually come in a liquid flavored form, and they are different. The Gatorade is probably the best for athletic performance, as it does not contain high fructose corn syrup. It is the sugars in Gatorade are dextrose, and I would have to look at the label, but I know for a fact it doesn't contain high fructose corn syrup. Oppositely, Powerade does, in fact, contain high fructose corn syrup. So whenever forced with the choice of Gatorade or Powerade, do not drink the Powerade. And Pedialyte is best for recovering from an illness or non-exercise supplementation, like way before you're exercising or way after. And it is, the drawback of it is that it can get pretty expensive if you're buying Pedialyte every day. Melatonin, 5-HTP, that's hydroxytryptophan, caffeine, ZMA, zinc magnesium acetate, and BCAAs or branched chain amino acids. So these are other supplements that have good research that could be helpful to people that don't have a lot of negative side effects, but are not necessarily like uh, like mandated, I guess. They're not as necessary for everyone as the previous ones, and there's probably not as much research on each one of them. Although Gatorade's been around for a while. All right, let me just check and see if we have any questions. Okay, I don't think that anything came up on the chat. All right. So here's where I start kind of the cheat sheet. So I have a supplement here. You can see the first page has multivitamin, omega-3, and greens. Then I have kind of a purpose, and like I was alluding to with the CBD oil, there's just a lot of, some of the benefits of these things are not necessarily listed under the purpose here, right? So multivitamin is generally for overall health and wellness, and we talked about topping off a deficiency. Different multivitamins call for, there's one a days, there's two times a day, there are Mega Men packs, there's all this, that, and the other. So you really have to look at your label when dosing. And then I just wanted to reiterate that Rainbow Light is a good food-based multivitamin. Side effects of multivitamins are typically only they will alter the color of your urine for whatever. Omega-3s, this is good for general health. They lower systemic inflammation by lowering a traditional omega-6 to 3 ratio by upping your omega-3s while keeping your omega-6s the same, creating a less inflammatory internal system. Like I said earlier, the important part of that is the EPA and DHA, and 1 to 5 grams a day is usually good. Be careful if you have, if you're taking blood thinners or anything for any reason, be careful with omega-3 fish oil. And it's an anticoagulant. Greens powder, overall health and wellness to top, it's essentially like furthering a multivitamin, except with a little bit more of a polyphenol profile and less of a specific multivitamin micronutrient ABC sort of profile. Oops. All right, so now we have a probiotic. We talked about gut health, somewhere between 5 and 10 billion units of bacteria. You'd have to look at the label. There's like an unsung importance here I put because I think, like I said, we're going to find out more about gut health and its connection to a lot of different things. I like to drink kombucha, i.e. Yogurt. That's usually sufficient. If you find that you have some sort of probiotic deficiency, you can supplement with it. BCAAs or branched chain amino acids, a subgroup of these is the essential amino acids. They usually have to do with muscle maintenance and athletic performance. Phil asked a question about nutrient timing, where this kind of comes into play. So beta-alanine has been shown to buffer lactic acid a little bit. So hydrogen ions buffering lactic acid creates that burn in your legs. So the more hydrogen, or legs, I say legs, usually we get lactic acid in our legs, I guess. Maybe you got lactic acid in your legs from, what you call it, the pistol wall ball nonsense. But I was like, if it's on the main side, you can't get rhabdo from it, right? So anyway, the beta alanine helps buffer that. So it's important to take your beta alanine near your exercise time. So that timing does come into play a little bit. Creatine, it's muscle building, general wellness, 2 to 5 grams a day. It's best taken with carbohydrates. It's quickly absorbed with high glycemic carbohydrates. I think post-exercise is the best window for high glycemic carbohydrates. So that's when I would take my creatine. I think prior to exercise, you have a slight risk in our climate, especially approaching in the summer, of dehydration with it. So I would be careful with that. I think, again, taking it post-exercise as part of a recovery shake would be awesome. We have creatine in our Fit Aid RX. I believe there are 2.5 grams of creatine in the black Fit Aid. Most of the Fit Aids contain branched chain amino acids. What else did I wanted to say about creatine? Oh, interestingly enough, George, you do liver transplants, right? Is that right? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you muted.
Yes.
So I think I read a study that said that people could have up to 30 grams of creatine daily for up to 5 years with no adverse effects on the liver. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but have you run into any liver issues because of creatine supplementation?
No, we frequently see, maybe once or twice a month, we see people coming in with liver problems, serious liver problems, due to, various supplements that they buy either online or even at GNC. But I've never seen anybody with creatine. There's a bad press for creatine in kidney problems, but I think that's been refuted now, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that input, George. I just wanted to think if I wanted to say anything else about creatine. There's a reason it's called the creatine phosphate pathway, right? Like that first burst of exercise is important, and supplementing with creatine will help top off those levels. So I think it's a good thing to have.
Hey, Brandon.
Yes, Kyle.
What about the other forms of creatine? So you have more than just creatine monohydrate. You've got all different forms of creatine.
Right. So I think, like, for instance, a product called Concrete contains something called creatine ethyl ester. A lot of those things were in an attempt for bodybuilders to not retain. Let me go to gallery view. I can't see Kyle. I feel like I'm talking to no one. All right, now I can see Kyle's picture, so that's helpful. A lot of those other types of creatines, like creatine ethyl ester that you would find in a product like Concrete, are an effort to limit water retention based off of creatine supplementation. And I think that as long as you are not over supplementing, the research behind the pure creatine monohydrate is just a little bit more compelling than some of the various forms of it. Is that? Oh, I'm getting a bunch of chats. So is that what? Where did it go? Does that help answer your question, Kyle?
Yes. Thank you.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah. Sorry, Rob. I didn't read your question until just now, but yes, I actually, like, you could play with some stuff, but I think like grape juice is a really high glycemic carbohydrate, and it doesn't take a lot of it to drive grams of carbs up, and it's a great it dissolves the creatine really well. That's a really good question, and the answer to it is yes. I am not familiar with FNX greens. Only greens that I've taken myself, Molly, are the paleo. I think it was the Paleo Ethics, that company that sponsored CrossFit for just a bit when Progenics moved out. I took that. I don't know anything else about it. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to that slide. I'm sorry. I'm just reading the lactic acid still in your legs. Yes, that's probably accurate. What kind of supplement? Steroid content. Yeah, definitely, George. I think so. Okay, so let me see here. I'm gonna need to go back one, I think, and then restart this. Okay. All right, so we did greens. Sorry, my apologies. We did creatine. Okay, so here we are. We are on this one. Let's spread out. Oh, that's not it. There we go. The view of you all is what's distracting me. I'm sorry. All right, so here's I think this is my last cheat sheet. We have electrolyte solutions. So the purpose is usually proper hydration or proper electrolyte balance. I think that this is another timing thing. We talked about maybe using it during exercise. A lot of them come with carbohydrates. So back to Rob's question, can you start a Gatorade during your exercise and then you use it to finish off your protein shake with some creatine? Sure, sounds like a good plan. Watch for other ingredients though, right? We don't want to overdo it on the sugar. We don't want to get sugar from poor sources like high fructose corn syrup. So when you're having electrolytes, watch for other ingredients. Caffeine, I know, I'm not going to call anybody out. I'm sorry. All right, caffeine. So focus, energy, CNS output. It's pretty well researched too, honestly. I found this, I think this is high, but I found like you should have less than or equal to 500 milligrams a day. So I wrote tops in all caps because I think that 500 milligrams a day is pretty high. And I think 60 minutes before exercise has shown increased focus and mental acuity and CNS drive. And to give you a frame of reference, an espresso shot has like 70 to 75 milligrams of caffeine. Our drinks, the O2 has, the caffeinated O2 has somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 to 160. And the Fit Aids have around 45. The Focus Aid has 55. The Force has 100 milligrams per packet. Push might have, I don't know how much the Push has. I'm sorry. The SFH Push, I think we kind of do carry that a little bit. I don't know. I can't honestly say how much it has. I know for a fact those other numbers that I gave you are accurate though. CBD oil, we have a that has CBD in it. Pain management, inflammation, recovery, sleep rhythm. There's a laundry list of things. Like, I could go into it. People get effects with a wide range of doses, right? So some people, have a little bit of CBD cream and they're like, oh, I drank a bottle of NyQuil. And other people have, I know from anecdotal evidence, put an entire bottle of Quill, which we sell, all over their body. And I would akin the response I got to like maybe I licked an Advil. Like, so that was the relief that that person got from the entire tube of the Quill. So there's a wide range of effects. It's currently being researched, and one of the drawbacks is that it can be pretty expensive. Oh, I have another cheat sheet. Sorry, these are some more supplements. Melatonin, natural sleep aid, 1 to 5 milligrams before bed. I think the biggest drawback with melatonin is I get mixed reviews on its effectiveness. Like, I don't feel anything to it works. ZMA is zinc magnesium acetate. We talked about that. Sleep and recovery as needed before bed. but too much magnesium will mess with your GI tract, so just be careful about that. And then CoQ10 is coenzyme Q10. It's heart health, blood pressure, energy production, cellularly issues with, like if you have if you've been on statins for a while, your natural production of CoQ10 goes down. Needs can vary, and then ubiquinol is the bioavailable form. So if you see a bottle of something that says ubiquinol, that's CoQ10. You can get that and use it. It is also expensive, but it is good. You know, so you get what you pay for, I guess. This is Laura knows what this is. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to have all these needs met before you can learn to an optimal level. And since supplements are topping you off to get to an optimal level after you've already got everything else in order, I have created a health hierarchy of needs to mirror the hierarchy of needs pyramid. And then I put a little asterisk that says, remember your supplementary angles, right? So hydration is at the bottom of this list. You cannot go very long without water. And it's also important. Sleep and recovery, quality food. You want quality food, proper movement mechanics, a perfect macronutrient profile, right? So I'm already eating my enough calories, right? Eat enough calories to support exercise, not body fat. That's 100 words of fitness or less by Glassman. So I'm already eating quality food and enough calories. Now I'm going to shift my macronutrients to create different body composition change and performance gains. And once all that's dialed in, then supplements are at the top of that list. So just like that little bit of blue in Maslow's hierarchy won't fill the bottom or come close to filling up the pyramid, that's why you need all of those other things. And the blue can just top off the pyramid. The blue is your supplementation. So I think that's all I have. I'm sorry, that's my outtake slide. That's what I was going to use in the beginning for supplementation, but I thought of, it's just a joke. It's just a bag of steroids. So let me get out of the screen share and screen share won't go away. Or there we go. Stop share. Boom. Boom. And now here's everybody. And now I can see everybody. And we'll do gallery view. And we'll get this chat question answered. They usually have some sort of androgen or steroid. Oh, kill cliffs. I would bet it's been a minute since I've had a kill cliff, George. But I think that they're probably around 50 to 60 milligrams of caffeine in them. I would guess. It's been a minute since you guys still push a lot of kill cliff uptown, huh? You don't have so much at Mid City. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that. But if I was a betting man, I would bet that a Kill Cliff can, a 12-ounce can, has somewhere between 50 and 60 milligrams of caffeine in it. All right, does anyone have any questions? You're mentioning hydration. I'm chugging down a glass of water. Heck yeah. I'm chugging down one of these ahas that we got from Trader Joe's. It's sparkling water from Coca-Cola, apparently. I'm gonna have to watch that. Nothing? Okay. So I said I contacted Jeff and Molly earlier this morning, and I also talked to Elizabeth a lot. And I told you guys my story about dabbling with Rip Fuel back as a senior in high school. And there's just a ton of information. Like I told them that I was like, I could do a dissertation on CoQ10, or good God, CBD. So there's a lot of information. I tried to give you all kind of an overview of it, as well as touch on some of the stuff that we carried at the gym, and how those supplements cross over into those products. So I don't know. I'm happy to answer any questions. What organ meats?
Organ meats. The less delicious ones.
Yeah, the less delicious ones.
There
might be other ones. You could probably do a Google search, but I just want to answer the question accurately, and I don't want to guess and just say stuff. So I will say that I know for sure organ meats are high in CoQ10, but you would have to check other sort. Like you could just Google source.
Yeah.
Anything else? Frankie probably crushes some organ meat, huh? No.
He crushes a little kale. He crushes
liver,
kale.
Maybe. Liver's Scott is liver. Do Scottish people eat liver, Louise? I don't.
Yes.
Is liver a big thing?
Yes, we eat liver. I remember having liver as a kid.
I was gonna put liver on Molly's icebreaker today.
A lot of people did.
I mean, the evolution of like when we were really young, it was like my grandmother would cook for us. We would eat off of, paper plates with the plastic holders, and craft dinner would be like mac and cheese. And someone was like, talked about those dry bone-in pork chops that you could have got at Schwegmann's for like
pork
42
chops.
cents a pound or something. I'm like, that's definitely what I ate.
It's
casein versus whey. Oh, okay. Good question. Casein versus whey. They both a milk-derived protein, but whey is a quicker digesting and quicker absorbing protein. So if you are somebody that's doing multiple protein shakes, or your protein shake is happening before bedtime, maybe think about using casein, and then whey maybe in that post-workout window. And then maybe a combination if you're doing it not around exercise or not around bedtime. That's a really good question. I did hear that creatine will make you retain water. How true is that? Sounds like yes. Okay. Yes, Rob. I'll get to medium chain triglyceride oil in just a second. So I think that a lot of creatine myths about water have to do with them being a part of another supplement, like Eno Explode, or like some sort of like other sugary based kind of like beta alanine containing supplement that has other water retaining effects. I would avoid it before I exercise in the summer, but I think having it after you exercise is not really a bad thing, Laura. If you feel physically bloated and you find that you are taking creatine with no added, like you're not just make sure your carb intake doesn't magically jump 60 grams a day when you take the creatine. If you still feel bloated, like if your carb intake's the same and you are only taking the creatine and you still feel bloated, then maybe fool with it. But or if the scale says like, oh, I gained 4 pounds and I didn't lose it, then maybe it is acting as like a hyper stimulus for water retention for you, I guess. But I think taking it after workout would be okay. So I would just look at that. Like, do you feel bloated? Are you gaining weight quickly without changing carbohydrate intake? Then maybe it is having that effect on you. Medium MCT oil is medium chain triglycerides. They are good for energy. Your body likes to use them for energy. I think that it's fine to supplement with it, assuming that you have a nice fat profile, meaning you're getting both saturated and unsaturated fats from a variety of healthy sources, and you need a little bit of fat supplementation. then you can throw some coconut oil in your coffee. But I don't think if someone is already at like a high fat ratio diet and they're not specifically on keto, or they might happen to be a hyper responder to dietary cholesterol and saturated fat, just be careful with how much of it you supplement. If you were supplementing 40 grams a day of MCT oil, know that that is 40 grams a day of fat you are adding to your diet. It's a little bit easy to pop 3 grams of fish oil in the morning and not recognize that it's adding to your total calories or your total fat if you're tracking. But if you're taking a tablespoon or two of coconut oil, that's going to be like 30 grams of fat. So just kind of be aware of that with MCT oil. But yeah, sure, absolutely, it's definitely part of a healthy diet. And if you don't feel like you're getting saturated fat, then go for it. No, I don't think so. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think that I don't see anything wrong with it. I'll give you what I do, just so you guys can know. I used to do this a little bit more naturally, but as a result of just being an adult, I do not have time to brew coffee, add coconut oil to it, put creatine on it, dissolve the creatine, make the coffee cold and palatable to drink before a workout in the summer. So instead of making an organic pre-workout, I will take a pre-workout that contains 5 grams of branched chain amino acids and about 100 to 150 milligrams of caffeine, depending on how much of a kick I need that day. During the workout and after the workout, I will drink a shake that has protein infused with more branched chain amino acids. So I'd say another 5, so that would be 10. And then I'll take a 5 to 7 gram of scoop of creatine on top of that. And I would usually drink that with Gatorade, which has carbs and electrolytes in it. So I do not think that there's anything wrong with that supplement split Rob just asked about in the chat box being done all around your workout. I would be careful drinking the creatine before the workout. That's about it. And like I said, if you're working out in the AC and you're not sweating a ton, it's not going to kill you to drink creatine before your workout or during your workout. I'm just talking about if you're prone to cramping like I am, and you are working out in 106 degree heat index like we do sometimes here, then maybe don't have creatine before your workout. Does anybody have any other questions? These are great questions. You guys are smart.
Brandon.
Yes, Kyle.
Any benefits or negative or not negatives toward waking up or purposely waking up in the middle of the night to have some sort of protein, like a shake or something, if you're trying to supplement in regards to gaining weight? Or does it just mess with your sleep pattern and you're not doing anything? You're not doing yourself any good.
Well, I mean, it would kind of have, Rami does this when Ramadan is happening. And I don't necessarily think he doesn't choose to do this, right? This is not optimal for him. But if you're saying like you're already eating enough calories and like you can't palate any more calories during the 16 hours you're awake, so you're going to take some calories in the middle of the night. Whatever happens to your body as far as the drawbacks of eating right before bed would also be happening eating in the middle of the night. So the digestive energy and the metabolism to digest would be directed away from repair and recovery while you're sleeping into digesting. Now, a whey protein shake is not going to take a long time to digest. So it's not going to be catastrophic, but I don't know, man. I personally feel different sleeping a solid block that gets me through probably 2 REM cycles or whatever, like 7 to 8 hours, than I do with like 2 4-hour blocks. So I would say if it doesn't bother you, if it doesn't feel like it bothers you physically and nothing is going out of whack, like your performance numbers aren't going down or your energy isn't tanking and you're getting the results you want, you can do it. But I would just weigh the drawback to the benefit there. I think sleep is really important. And I think that, I think that we are definitely on the same page about a lot of that stuff. So that would be my answer to that question. Like if you're a bodybuilder and you're like, I got to get to 265 pounds and I cannot palate any more protein during the day, and you want to set an alarm, but those bodybuilders are sometimes typically taking like naps during the day too. So they're getting extra sleep patterning in there as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I would say about it.
My next question kind of backs onto that is, I was told that something like casein, because it's a slow digesting protein, would be something like, you're going into a 4-hour meeting.
Sure.
You got to get some calories in. Would be best to drink that prior to your meeting so that either you're not snacking on the foods that they bring to the table or stuff like that, so that your body can continue to work and your body is basically being fed while you're in that 4-hour meeting. Is that true? Like something, doing casein?
Yes. Casein is a slower digesting protein. Probably.
Do you have any, I'm sorry, do you have any suggestions? Like for me, I can't stomach casein.
It's gross.
Basically just,
it's like gelatinous.
well, not
like
I
was like, this is all easier said than done, guys. All easier said than done. Nutrition,
casein sucks for
exercise,
me.
supplementation, everything.
Yeah, the casein sucks for me. I can't. My stomach just doesn't take it very well.
Yeah. I don't particularly. Try to throw some. I don't know. Maybe you could throw some MCT oil in a pre-4-hour stretch with some whey to kind of buffer it a little bit, and then it would make you feel a little bit more full for longer. Instead of drinking casein, that's, in my opinion, very gross.
I make waffles out of the casein protein because it's so thick.
Yeah,
awful.
It's not my favorite. I'll just say that. Although I really did like. We used to carry Cocoon. It's one of the Progenics supplements that I really did enjoy. I enjoyed the flavor of it, and I also felt it was helping with performance gains as well. And although I didn't take it in the middle of the night, Kyle, that is something that I took before bed. Like milk has casein in it. You can just drink milk too. While y'all are here, y'all are kind of regulars. If there's something that you would like me to discuss next week, I will be transparent with you guys. We have tossed around sleep in our staff meetings. I don't know if that necessarily fits our mold for nutrition. Maybe it fits a little bit more in Wednesday's segment of lifestyle, but if there's anything that you all would like to hear more about while you're on this call, I would love to continue to do these regardless of whether we're able to open sooner rather than later. But I could imagine that they will not come in the same frequency as we're doing them now. So if you all want to hear something before we go off the air, let me know. And if you think of it later, you can always send a Facebook message or shoot us a text or respond to one of the videos of us working out, or however you want to communicate it to us.
I think sleep would be a great nutrition talk.
Okay. Cool.
I do too, Brandon. I tend to wake up, it's probably just because of my lifestyle, but I tend to wake up a lot in the middle of the night, and usually around 3 o'clock in the morning, and then my mind's racing usually. And then I can't sleep, and then I'm exhausted when I wake up. But what I have done recently that I think is helping is I've been drinking milk before I've been going to bed. And I think it actually is helping, but I don't know if, I don't really know why I'm doing that, but that's a tendency for me, is to wake up in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock, like almost regularly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to address it in this segment if you all would like, or if you would like to hear something else and you would like to hear sleep and you think sleep needs to be addressed in Wednesday's segment, that's cool too. So yeah, we have our meetings, and you guys can look for Jeff's email on Sunday, kind of discussing our topics and our times and our schedule for next week. That's me too, Laura. I get up about once in the morning.
And I don't know if it's like hormonal or like, cause I'm like almost 52. That could be part of it, but I never like to use age as my excuse for anything, but it could be part of it.
I mean, while no one can outrun father or mother time, I think that when you are looking at different recommendations and stuff, Molly, like you have to look a demographic of age bracket lower just based off of your physical condition. I think. I mean, yeah, there are going to be some things that always apply, like when you hit this age, when you hit this age, when you hit this age. But like, I mean, a lot of the aging stuff has to do with your retention of muscle mass. Other things start to happen when your body shifts from less muscle to more adipose tissue. So like you've done a really, I mean, it appears that you've done somewhat of a job of retaining muscle mass as you are, however old you are. So I think that you should kind of consider like a demographic. That's not just specifically to Molly, although Molly is kind of an outlier, but all of us, I think, that do CrossFit, that care about nutrition, that are doing this, or especially compared to our parents' generation, like we need to look and feel like we are capable of doing things and behaving the way that a younger generation was able to behave and do. Obviously, I'm not talking about like non-frontal lobe development and poor lifestyle choices, stuff like that. I'm talking about physical and health capacity when I say that. So that's something that, to consider when we're looking at the sleep discussion next week, and we say stuff, and I say something dumb like, once you're 40, you can't sleep anymore. Like, well, Brandon said once you're 40, you can't sleep anymore. So that's my fixed mindset for the rest of this.
Yeah.
Brandon.
Yes, Kyle.
If you like, I can offer I've been using an app that tracks my sleep in regards to the sound.
Not all the cool ones have the Whoop strap, Kyle. Come on.
Yeah,
kidding.
well, I go old school. It lets me know, it sees what my breathing is like, and it gives me an update at the end of my sleep pattern. I have over a year's worth of information now because I use it every night.
How does it work? Does it link to your watch, or do you have to sleep with like your phone in your pocket, or?
No, it's you basically just have it on your end table and you point the microphone to it, and it's not gonna, like, it doesn't pick up Tanya, but it'll pick up me and my snoring and breathing patterns. It can tell me when I'm how many times I've gone through REM, everything. It's pretty good.
Huh. Yeah, dude, share that with us.
And I know, like with Molly, one of the big things that I noticed was having the room completely dark. And no LED lights of any kind. Like the phone is off.
Thanks, George.
The things that are plugged in are, no little LEDs, because that can really affect, your brain's going to pick that up before you're actually cognizant of it.
Oh,
Where do you
absolutely.
put your phone? Like, what if you?
Go ahead.
Like, if you? Oh, sorry. What if you use your phone as your alarm? Like, is that bad having it next to your bed? Like it's not.
I turn it upside down. And it
Okay,
basically it wakes the whole app wakes me up slowly. Like it sends an alarm that's very, very quiet, and then it slowly wakes me up. It sees where I am in my REM pattern, and then it decides when it's time to wake me up. So it won't wake me up in the lowest part of my REM.
Auto sleep.
Another suggestion would be to actually put your phone on sleep mode so you don't get notifications that disturb you in the middle of the night as well.
I don't have that. I do that.
Frankie's like, I'm about to text you later, just FYI. So
no, I have that
only because
goes off.
I have.
Not for me.
Actually, Frankie has.
I'm happy to talk about sleep. I think we've been on. I mean, I don't want to cut anybody off, but I also don't want to, get like I don't. We've been on here for 43 minutes, an hour, almost an hour, and I don't want us to go into the sleep realm already. And I mean, I don't want to cut anybody off. But I think that those are good things. If you guys want me to elaborate more on the very good suggestions that Kyle has given us about sleep, and I think George talked about the specific app Kyle was talking about. Is it Auto Sleep, Kyle?
I'm gonna look that up.
Give me a second. It's called Sleep Cycle. SLEEP. It's an orange icon with an outline of an old school alarm clock.
That's on your phone, Kyle?
It's what?
That's on your phone? That's an app? What's it called again?
Yes.
Sorry, Sleep Cycle?
Yep. And like I said, it's an orange square icon with an old school white alarm clock in the middle of it.
Okay.
Yeah, Alvin. Like I was talking about with some of the other topics, like in today's discussion or some of the individual supplements, like there's a lot that can be said about some of these topics. So talking about general recovery and how it lines up with different cycles of sleep and sleep importance can definitely be something we cover. But yeah, everything that Kyle said about sleep is 100% accurate. The LED lights are bad. The LED lights before bed are bad. The totally dark room is good. We're going to get into, I mean, I guess we're going to probably do this as one of them, Molly. I don't want to speak too soon, but we'll probably tackle sleep as one of these things.
Definitely do that. Sounds like people want to hear that.
Yeah, Kyle's right. The LED lights are no good before bed. Dark room, we can give you optimal temperature. We can give you sleep hygiene, bedtime routine. And like Alvin asked, we can incorporate it with recovery, and we can make that one of our segments next week. Thank you guys for sharing. I am okay to stay on the call. I don't want to drag it out, and I don't want to like people can still ask me questions and stuff. I don't want to necessarily I don't have to go, but it is 6:46 and you guys have listened to me talk probably for the 5th or 6th time for an hour with a PowerPoint presentation. So I will not be offended if it is time to end, but I don't have to go. So Frankie looks like he's like content to just keep hanging out.
Eating salad.
It's a lot of digestion.
Yeah.
Are you cooking, Kyle? It looked like you were.
Yes. Yeah, I'm making, where is it? It is Louisiana style tilapia.
Is that a Blue Apron meal?
It's a Hello Fresh.
Nice.
We've been doing 3 of them a week, and they are all absolutely amazingly good.
Yeah.
And it just cuts down my cook time. Like for 3 nights a week, I'm not like grilling out or something else. It maximum takes an hour to put one of the meals together. But like we'll put out a picture later on. But that's pretty much what.
Yeah, we try. That's what we do with Blue Apron. We try to make it look just like the picture.
Yeah.
Nikki, those things are those are good. Those are good. We did them a lot. I like those. They're easy because they give you all the macros and stuff, and you can pick ones that are like Whole30 or vegan or whatever. Like those
Yep.
are.
I think I got a Hello
Yeah, the
Fresh
biggest thing I've noticed
coupon.
is you don't add as much salt in them as they want you. They want you to add salt into every part of it, and it's like Jesus.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Like,
Do you just save it and put in your salt shaker? Like just take
I
the
don't.
packet.
Well, no, I
salt
mean,
shaker.
I just
Or
don't put in the
Polaroid
salt.
picture. It's like almost 7. I'm like, okay.
I know. I'm
All right,
hungry. I
guys,
think
I'm gonna go
eat.
cook.
All right.
Thank you so
sounds
much,
good.
Brandon,
Bye.
and I'm looking forward to the sleep thing next week.
No problem. Hey Kyle,
guys.
we'll touch
Yeah.
base about this weekend.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, probably most likely Saturday afternoon if you can get together.
And then